Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye nastaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, 8th Chapter, text number 42. Tvai me ananya vishaya, Tvai me ananya vishaya, Mathi madhupate asakrat, Matir madhupate srakat, Ratim udvahatat adda, Ratim udvahatat adda, Ganga iva ogham udanvati, Gange vogham udanvati, Tvai me ananya vishaya, Matir madhupate surakat, Ratim udvahatat adha, Gange vogham udanvati, Tvai me ananya vishaya, Matir madhupate swakat, Ratim udvahatat adha, Gange vogham udanvati. Tvai me ananya vishaya, Matir madhupate srakat, Ratim udvahatat adda, Gange vogham udanvati. Tvai me ananya vishaya, madhupate sakrat, Ratim udvahatat adda, Gange vogham udanvati.
Tvai me ananya vishaya,
Tvai me ananya vishaya,
Matir madhupate sakrat,
Matir madhupate srakat,
Ratim udvahatat adda,
Ratim udvahatat adda,
Gange vogham udanvati.
Gange vogham udanvati. Synonyms: Tvai, onto you, me, my, ananya vishaya, unalloyed, mati, attention, madhupate, O Lord of Madhu, asakrat, continuously, ratim, attraction, udvahatat, may overflow, adha, directly, Ganga, the Ganges, Iva, like, Ogham, flows, Udanvati, down to the sea. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation: O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn upon you without being diverted to anyone else. Please repeat. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn onto you without being diverted to anyone else. Purport. Perfection of pure devotional service is attained when all attention is diverted towards the transcendental loving service of the Lord. To cut off the tie of all other affections does not mean complete negation of the finer elements, like affection for someone else. That is not possible. A living being, whoever he may be, must have the feeling of affection for others because this is the symptom of life. The symptoms of life, such as desire, anger, hankerings, feelings of attraction, etc., cannot be annihilated. Only the objective has to be changed. Desire cannot be negated. But in devotional service, the desire is changed only for the service of the Lord in place of desire for sense gratification. The so called affection for family, society, country, etc., consists of different phases of sense gratification. When this desire is changed for the satisfaction of the Lord, it is called devotional service. In the Bhagavad Gita, we can see that Arjuna desired not to fight with his brothers and relations, just to satisfy his own personal desires. But when he heard the message of the Lord, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, he changed his decision and served the Lord. And for his doing so, he became a famous devotee of the Lord, for it is declared in all scriptures that Arjuna attained spiritual perfection by devotional service to the Lord in friendship. The fighting was there, the friendship was there, Arjuna was there, and Krishna was there. But Arjuna became a different person by devotional service. Therefore, the prayers of Kunti also indicate the same categorical changes in activities. Srimati Kunti wanted to serve the Lord without diversion, and that was her prayer. This unalloyed devotion is the ultimate goal of life. Our attention is usually diverted to the service of something which is non godly or not in the program of the Lord. When the program is changed into the service of the Lord, that is to say, when the senses are purified in relation with the service of the Lord, it is called pure unalloyed devotional service. Srimati Kunti Devi wanted that perfection and prayed for it from the Lord. Her affection for the Pandavas and the Vrishnis is not out of the range of devotional service because the service of the Lord and the service of the devotees are identical. Sometimes service of the devotee is more valuable than service of the Lord. But here the affection of Queen Kunti for the Pandavas and the Vrishnis was due for family relation. The tie of affection in terms of material relation is the relation of Maya because the relations of the body or the mind are due to the influence of the external energy. Relations of the soul established in relation with the supersoul are factual relations. When Kunti Devi wanted to cut off the family relation, she meant to cut off the relation of the skin. The skin relation is the cause of material bondage, but the relation of the soul is the cause of freedom. The relation of the soul to the soul can be established by a via media of the relation with the supreme soul, super soul. Seeing in the darkness is not seeing, but seeing by the light of the sun means to see the sun and everything else which was unseen in the darkness. That is the way of devotional service. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे We are reading the verses of the chapter named Prayers by Queen Kunti. This is one of the most exalted prayer out of the many prayers that she has offered, and it is a very valuable application for all of us. So here she is praying to Lord Krishna, referring to him as Madhu. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn onto you without being diverted to anyone else. We have this experience, right? All the rivers that flows to the sea, and it is impossible to curtail them. Even if you construct some dam and so forth, or at a certain point you have to let the water go. It has its own direction. So she is comparing, Queen Kunti, she is comparing this kind of flow, attraction of river to the sea, be there for Lord, for her, to the Lord, for herself. So we all have different attractions, affections. So she is here specifically praying that her attraction be towards Lord without any hindrance. And she is herself giving a nice analogy of rivers flowing to the sea. So, a very interesting context that we can bring. Before this prayer, she had prayed that let the Lord sever my tie of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. Kunti is born in a Vrishni family, fathers, and then after marriage, father-in-law, the Kuru and Pandavas. So she is related to fathers and father-in-law's family. And she is referring that let my affection be cut off from these two families. Generally, it is the other way, isn't it? Nobody comes and prays to the Lord to have the relation severed. But here is a contrast. It is unnatural to be cutting off from anybody and everybody. You have to develop an attraction to somebody. So that is what she is praying. It is not that I pray that I get rid of all the affection and the relations from my father's and father-in-law's families, but I be having an attraction towards you only. So this has to be very nicely understood. So Prabhupada says, to cut off the tie of other affections does not mean complete negation of the finer elements like the affection for someone else. This is not possible. So it is not possible that we cut off everything and we become as much as a stone. No. So Prabhupada goes on to say, a living being, whoever he may be, must have the feeling of affection for others because this is the symptom of life. So everybody has to have a relation with many. That's called the affection. In what way? The symptoms of life such as desire, anger, hankering, feeling of attraction cannot be annihilated. So Prabhupada is clarifying that we cannot get rid of these symptoms. What are that? What are they? Desire, anger, hankerings, feeling of attraction cannot be annihilated. So we may have some feeling of affection with somebody. We may have feeling of anger with somebody, we may have feeling of attraction for somebody and so forth. And that it is told you cannot get rid of. Then how this has to be dealt or understood is only the objective has to be changed. To whom are you feeling and in what relation? Is that based on the body or is that based on the soul? That changes the whole paradigm. In the last portion of this purport, Prabhupada says, her affection for Pandavas and Vrishnis is not out of the range of devotional service because the service of the Lord and the service of the devotees are identical. Sometimes service of the devotee is more valuable than the service of the Lord. Having understood Pandavas were all great devotees, why was she considering to sever a tie with them? They were great devotees themselves. So, in fact, Prabhupada goes on to say it is much more great if you serve a devotee than the Lord directly. Lord is more pleased if the devotees are served better and then rather than serving him personally. So then why is she considering to have that affection severed? So Prabhupada clarifies her due affection for the Pandavas and Vrishnis was in the relation of a family rather than a devotee. So that kind of affection is based out of skin. That's what Prabhupada says. So to have a relation with, in terms of soul, very nicely Prabhupada writes this. The relation of the soul to the soul can be established by the via media of a relation with the super soul. Each individual, we are all souls, and each other person is also a soul. How is it to be considered the best relation is in relation with Supreme Lord? Okay, we are all devotees of Krishna. Then we are all having that relation of friendship, affection and so forth. That is all well and good. If you don't have that common aspect of Krishna there, then all these relations have no meaning in one sense. It will all bring down to the level of skin and to the level of body. So that is what the important point is. Nobody can just give away all the affections to anybody and everybody. And now the point that she is referring is having a relation with him as the only goal without any hindrances. So the point is, people get frustrated once in a while because of a relation that may have trying situations, and they try to solve among themselves and so forth, and they don't see the common relation of Lord, and that's why sometimes they fall apart. The point that we have to understand is, unless we bring in Lord, no relation is complete. Shri Radha Govinda ki Jai. So Prabhupada starts this purport saying, perfection of pure devotional service is attained when all attention is directed towards the transcendental loving service of the Lord. How do we attain that devotional service to the Lord? That is the perfection of loving service of the Lord. So everybody has to have that intent of developing that attraction towards Lord by rendering unalloyed devotional service. We are all aware how the devotional service starts. It starts as exemplified by acharyas, as exemplified by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. He has showed how our devotional service has to be started. So the idea is, now the point is, we are all humans And we have just seen that we cannot get away with desire, anger, hankering, feeling of affection, etc. And now, how somebody tries is his situation, is the contrast. There are many people not having understood the relation with the Lord. They try to sever every tie and then go and try to be alone, secluded. So much so that they go even to a Himalaya or some religious places and then they try and understand that they can be happy. No. Unless otherwise you have a proper understanding of how these relationships work, it will all fall apart. Over a period of time, they will have that enthusiasm going down and then come back again to the society, etc. So it so happens that even great sannyasis, if they have no proper understanding, they come back in the name of doing some social service, building some roads, building some water pipes, etc. etc. Unless otherwise they have the attraction of developing that devotional attitude towards Lord, all the other ways of curtailing different affections will fall apart. Because the desire is within the soul, cannot be curtailed to that extent that it cannot have any affection or relation. No, desire is part of the soul. So there is a verse in Bhagavad Gita that not even a second that anybody can sit idle. At least the mind will be active. So in these terms, then how do we have that going, and how, in what direction should we be able to be going? So that brings to the point of the scriptures. So how do the scriptures guide each one of us having this situation? Having understood, okay, this is the point, we have to develop some relation, affection with everybody, and how it has to be done. That's where Prabhupada and Krishna says varnashrama. The first aspect is to divide the society, according to their gunas and karmas, and then follow their duties. And then this division is only to have the Supreme Lord as the center. So, varnashrama dharma charavatan purushena parapuman vishnuraradhyate. Why is this division done? So that everybody can serve Vishnu. Each society, each section of the society has got some work, some capability. And how all of this society, all of these sections can come together and serve the Supreme. Unless otherwise, this is implemented, this idea of getting the Supreme Lord or getting Supreme Lord's pleasure is brought in, all these sections without having, all these plans may fall apart. So, idea is how we have to bring in this. So, let us understand with a very nice example. It comes from Bhagavatam itself. We all have desires, and different situations we desire differently. This is an instance from the descendants of Dhruv Maharaj, a king named Anga. He was a pious guy, a devoted person, ruling the whole empire, but he was bereft of a son. And then, naturally, when they are married, they need, or they have a natural desire to have a son. So then he approaches the Brahmanas and then asks, how should we go about? Maybe I have done some mistake that that's how Lord is not blessing me of a son and so forth. Then the brahmanas and so forth, they come forward with saying, you may do a yagna that will help you get a son. So on their direction he does, and then he is blessed with a son. And son, it so happens that he is a very notorious person, very crazy, very adamant. All the bad qualities named, you can see in them. And then he becomes so kind of frustrated about this boy. He is growing up, taking advantage of being the emperor's son, exploits the people, and then it comes to so much extent that it is unbearable. Then he prays, or he thinks for himself, let there be no son like this to anybody. Better is not to have a son. This is so much, to an extent that it is so awkward. I cannot deal with people. You can see how situations bring in. Earlier he prayed to the Lord, he did a yagna for a son, and now he is repenting for his own prayer, saying this son, the very son is my misery. It's so awkward, isn't it? He takes advantage and does whatever in the name of father, etc. So the idea is, he thinks like that for a while, and then the situation goes so bad, he gets frustrated. And then what happens? He starts thinking, this son is very good. Why? He has got me get rid of all the affections for the family, society, son. Better is now I go back to some forest. Let my attraction be towards the Lord. You can see the situation. Prabhupada writes in that portion that when Lord blesses, he has his own plans. If he had blessed with a wonderful son who is nicely taking care of the kingdom, etc., probably he would have got attached to son and his family and so forth, isn't it? And there would have not been any privilege of getting rid of the family affections and ties. So he prays that this is a very good situation. Probably everybody's son should be like that. That the parents get frustrated and then all the false affection may be get rid of. Then he thinks like, so even though he prayed, Lord has a different plan for him. So Lord knows how a person thinks, what is his vasana, what is his desire, everything Lord knows. Even if before somebody goes and prays to him, he knows in one sense. But nonetheless, we have to pray, like Kunti Maharani is praying, that my attraction be towards you. So the point is, we do not know what is good and what is bad. What desire is good, what is desire is bad. So unnecessarily we will get into encumbrances. So the idea is, then I was reflecting, I was reading this, and then I was thinking, in my own acquaintances, there was one family, they had no son, and then it so happened they started taking adoption. They took one of the small boy in their known circles to have as an adoption, and that unfortunately he got some ailments and so forth, and he started acting very crazy, like more like a madman, unsound mind basically. And now he has already adopted. The baby is just 3-4 years or so forth, and then they upbring him, and then the same situation. Of course, he's not exploiting, he's more of a madman. He's like, whoever comes to home, he just beats them with chappal and whatever possible. And then this person is a respectable man, and then he doesn't know how to handle, because he's his own adopted son, he cannot reprimand and so forth, is trying to put it up. And then over a years passed by, 10 years, 15 years, and his notorious activities grew. And then I was thinking, and then it's unfortunate, this person dies of whatever. And then that person is still of age of 20, 22, or I don't know, and he is still of unsound mind and goes on. So I was thinking, why did this person not have that kind of feeling towards Lord? Because he also desired to have a son, and so he adopted a son. Right? And then time passed by, and then he somehow passed away also. So what is the similarity from the Anga story and this Aquantine's family story? Both of them wanted a son, and then one of the son, and more or less both of the sons were unworthy to the common extent of sound mind, etc. One of them could develop an attraction for the Lord, and one of them not much. I was thinking, why somebody, he got trialing situations and that. So that struck that it is not that we only pray or desire only for the arrangements in this world. No. The lacuna in the Aquantine's family is they never desired to have an attraction for the Lord. Otherwise, in the case of Anga, he was always a pious man. He wanted to represent himself as the servant of God. He is an emperor. So idea is, we have to know that this prayer has to be constantly done. Tvai me ananya vishaya. So many other reasons and desires may come about. Matir madhupate swakrit. Swakrit means constantly. Our attraction towards Lord should be like that river of devotional service to Krishna's lotus feet. If that is not prayed, other things Lord may fulfill. But we saw how situations cannot take you to the same end of having the devotional service. That's the aim of life. So different situations bring in different circumstances in lives, but ultimately we should have that attraction towards Lord. Otherwise, this life will pass by and go. Another life may come and go, life after life. So the purpose of life is to have that developed, somehow or other, develop that relation with the Lord, having done this devotional service as exemplified by the Acharyas. Otherwise, there are so many ways that people may get carried away by this process of so-called devotional service, that process of so-called devotional service. The idea is, Acharyas have jotted down on what is the process, and the process is very much clear. And this process in this age is to have that chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If somebody is able to start chanting every day, all the good guidance comes from within. Just they have to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If they can chant few times in a day, and over a time 108 times in a day and so forth, and then they can increase. So just this one mantra can bring in that affection towards Lord and the attraction towards Lord. So unless otherwise that is fixed, all the other different ways of getting fulfilled of different desires will or may or may not lead to the same destiny. So idea is, whenever we come in front of Radha Govinda, Lakshmi Narsimha, we can offer this prayer. Very nice prayer, isn't it? As the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn upon you. It's so nice a prayer. This prayer has to be there. Otherwise, Lord may fulfill other desires, definitely. Nonetheless, He knows each of our minds and He knows each of our past lives. And that we ourselves don't know what is our destiny. He knows everything. So, whatever may come by, have this prayer going on every day as soon as you come in front of Lord, and then that's one thing that may have that tag towards Lord. Otherwise, we may get lost in the name of so many religious things may be trying and doing, but we may be losing that aim of life. That's the devotional service of the Lord. So with this I finish. If you have any questions, because this is a very nice occasion on an auspicious Ugadi. It's called Yuga, starting on a new year. So let our attraction be starting with prayer towards Lord, like the devotional service towards Lord. That's the river of Krishna consciousness. Okay. If you have any questions. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.